Se ne va azzurro, il pomeriggio è troppo azzurro e lungo per me. Mi accorgo di non avere più risorse senza di te. E allora io quasi quasi prendo il treno e vengo da te. Il treno dei desideri, nei miei pensieri all'incontrario va.
Cari amici sportivi, welcome to yet another edition of Red Card Weekly, where we mostly speak about SerieA, sometimes some international, sometimes some European. And yes, we're not professionals, nor do we pretend to be. Always faithfully to my right, my co-host Steve. How we managed not to beat Juve today, I don't know why. But when I saw Tevez score the second goal, I just wanted to cry. Polilo? And I am Vince. People told me to get in better shape, I should start doing some crunches. But after watching Inter Roma, I want to hit the bag and throw some punches. Tavares. There was a couple, maybe Rocky Balboa over there, a couple of punches. Steve, we need to get through the games before we get into our Milan. It is all about Red Card Weekly for all new viewers. Make sure you always watch until the end. We do say our Red Cards of the week. So
yeah, but I wanted to just jump in there. We're gonna start. We're gonna be a little bit different today because I'm just a little bit frustrated, and I'm gonna tell you why. So I'm gonna do my red card right away.
You're starting off with the red card?
Yeah, it's gonna be an automatic red card. Automatic red card to all the people who, for some reason, fail to admit to themselves that the game has changed. The era of soccer has changed.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to explain this now. This is a fantastic game there, Juve and Milan, which we'll talk about later. That's okay. Great game, 2-0 loss, I could. But then you have some people on Twitter who they like to push with 140 characters though. At 140 characters, they're really smooth, you know. They like to throw the jab that your team is shit, your team is that's fine. That's okay at 140 characters. Now with video rolling, Steve's going to tell you what's going on. If you think that this Juve would have beat Capello's Juve, you guys have not been watching soccer for long enough.
Go Steve, go!
Okay? And the game has changed. Yes, it's fine. Juve, fantastic transfer market, rebuilding a team, coming out from SerieA B. Yes, Liechtensteiner, good buy. Vidal, great buy. Fantastic buy. Stealing Loriente for free. Stealing Pogba from Manchester United, that's fine. That's okay. All fine and dandy. These players would not last 3 seconds in the old soccer. If you could argue with me that they can go down the line and meet Paolo Maldini and try to beat Paolo Maldini the way they do easily, that's fine, that's it. I'll even give you we'll throw in Bergomi even from Inter, another great defender.
Yeah.
Costa Curta, all these fine. In the midfield, an Edgar Davids, a Gennaro Gattuso in his prime. If you'll be able to dance and prance around like that,
Patrick Vieira,
all these players, if you think that they would be able to compete with that Juve or that style of soccer back in the day, you haven't been watching soccer, and I think you should maybe YouTube some of the old matches.
Alright, so Steve gave his red card of the week right away to the whole Twitter world and to the old ignorant people.
No, they're not ignorant. It's just that if you haven't been watching soccer for the past 10 years, then don't comment on what you see today. The game has changed. The game has become about money.
Yeah.
You need to have money. Yes, Milan did sell Ibrahimovic and Thiago Silva for a lot of money. But do we know the ins and outs of what they had to pay with that money? Did they spend wisely after? No, it's not that. But back in the day, you couldn't bring Padoin into a game at 2-0 against Milan. Padoin would not even hold the water bottles for the Juventus players back in the day. So it's fine, Conte could bring in whoever he wants, it's fine, 3 straight Scudettos, woo, 3 straight Scudettos, wee. When Milan bought back in the time, Milan won Scudettos, Milan won Champions League. Juve bought, they won Scudettos against a far superior SerieA, and hey, got kicked out of Champions League. So you're just back in the same boat. Enjoy your 3 Scudettos, let's go.
Yes, thank you, Steve, and thank you for our friend Jeff for Steve's nickname this week. And I'd like to say hi to our buddy, my buddy Michael from Ottawa, a Juventino, but he's one of the nice Juventines. He actually, Forza Milan, Forza for sempre. Roma Inter on Saturday, guys. We've seen some highlights there. They back our own Giusta del goal. where we expect, I really thought we were going to be a winner in this game, the whole 0-0. We're watching back these highlights now of the couple of punches there. It looks like the referees had their Stevie Wonder glasses on. But in the end, can you have said first half was all Inter? I believe there were a lot of good chances for Inter. Roma had okay chances, but Gervinho, Lilic, piss poor for the whole 90 minutes. But I believe a tie was merited from Lorenzi.
Well, a tie is fine there. Just it pisses me off after having John the other day, the other weekend on the Red Card Weekly screen, just explaining how these are the types of games that you have to win to be in the Scudetto race. And we saw today. You saw the tweet. Roma ties. Napoli ties. Fiorentina loses. Juve plays by far the worst game of the season, and they still gain points on everybody.
Yeah.
It's hard mentally to come back from a game like this. Roma did not do enough. Look, we're going to say some Romanistas are going to say we're missing Totti, blah, blah, blah. It's not Totti the problem. It's games like this where Mazzarri knew what they were going to do.
Yeah.
And he played them like a fiddle. He knew that they were going to have trouble in the offensive zone, and that's what happens. You get a 0-0 chance.
Yeah. But always these incidents with the whole punches left, right, and center. But we'll see what happens. I don't know if the judges came off with any.
Well, they better go because it seems like every time there's something that happens involving another team, they go to the video that comes from the TV screens, and there's a 4-game suspension like happened to Valero.
Yeah.
So now what's going to happen to De Rossi, we're going to have to see, and he's not going to get called up for the Spain friendly, which is probably a good thing. So.
All right, so we're going to basically we did have Napoli play today at 12:30 against Livorno at Livorno.
Piss poor Pepe Reina. That's how you could sum up the game. Piss poor Pepe Reina.
I don't know what the hell.
Brendan Rodgers from Liverpool is saying, "Thank God this guy wants to stay with Napoli. Thank God he wants to stay with Napoli." How does a goaler like that have so many make spectacular saves where he stops people point blank, and then after he reminds me of Abbiati.
No, I think he should remind us more of Dida, where he used to have these games where he used to, and then
Dida's actually a better example. He'll make fantastic saves, and then after on a simple ball that goes through the 6-yard box, he hits it with his arm and gives it a backspin that only a pool player could do in 9-ball, and it ends up in the back of his net.
But honestly, like Napoli, like these are games that you cannot afford to come out like just with a
This
tie.
is a perfect chance for them to
gain some points,
gain some points against Roma and put pressure with Roma in this fantastic game that they have in hand that they keep on talking about. Well, that game is against Parma, and if you haven't looked at the schedule, Parma's been playing really, really well.
Fantastic, and Parma did come up with the 1-0 win today at the Sassuolo, but they keep on racking some points, so we'll see where that happens. But Napoli, I don't know, like. Games like this today don't make me believe, like, do they still have, like, what it takes, but we know SerieA, anything that happens, there is, 12 weeks left.
Look, they had some chances, but let's be honest. The goal that they actually scored was off a penalty, which was very weak.
Yeah.
Gordon, hair plugs Pandev, decided to take a fall there, and he ended up getting the penalty, and Mertens steps up and takes the penalty shot.
Yeah.
They missed Higuain. I have to say today, they missed Higuain. He does cause a lot of trouble up there. But against the Livorno side that's so down there, you have to win these types of games, and that's what happens. That's what happens in the Campionato. Weekends like this, they can end the Campionato.
Yeah, they can, definitely. Taking it over even to like a Fiorentina Lazio. Again, our favorite Jekyll and Hyde team Lazio. I don't think anybody could have predicted a win by Lazio, maybe possibly a tie.
But what a great weekend for Lazio to play Fiorentina, who's missing Borja Valero for 4 games.
And how do you figure that a team like Lazio that gets beat in Europa League by Ludo Kretz, even though they scored 3 goals and then they come off and they win against Fiorentina at home? Yes, Mario Gomez is back and he's not 100%, but you can see that Giuseppe Rossi brought so far, as we can see, much more to the table than what Mario Gomez. But I don't think it's easy to judge because he hasn't been maybe at 100%. He's played maybe 2-3 games since he's been back. But Fiorentina showing. I don't know, Steve. What do you think?
Look, the Fiorentina, it's the offense where they're having problems. Obviously, the defense today was a bicycle kick goal that happened off a rebound. Reminds us a little bit about Milan Atletico. Off the head, ends up in the air, guy. A fantastic individual effort, ends up in the back of the net. It's to get back that goal when that happens.
Yeah.
And missing your best player, which I think Borja Valero is their best player, unfairly for 4 matches. I'm going to say that again, 4 matches. I've seen it 100 times. I still don't know what happened for him to get 4 matches.
Especially that he doesn't have any precedent incidents, or he has that
he doesn't have that mean streak.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the reputation to do that. If you had said it with Balotelli, I would have just already known, imagined what he must have said.
Then again, Steve, we're talking about the Giudice Sportivo that will give chiusura da curva sud for territorial things, but they don't say about the
that destroyed the Inter Roma game even more. If there would have been a crowd, it would have probably been a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, but that's it's a shame right now. But things like making fun of Morosino, making fun of the Toro Superga thing, that's okay. But you're talking about Napoli territory.
How sad is that? How sad is it to be a fan of a team? A fan of a team where certain fans make fun. Certain fans make fun of people dying. How about they look at themselves a little bit and think about where your roots of your team come from?
Yeah.
Because if those players don't pass away, there might not even be a Juventus right now.
Yeah. But it's still coming back to our fact is that we're getting people like for these kind of things get fined, and then you get Lavatino del Fuoco Napoli. All due respect to Napoli, I'm not saying anything bad about that.
We're not saying that it's right.
Yeah.
We're not saying, please don't tell me, we're not saying that it's right to make fun of people where they come from.
If they're both bad, you should punish them.
Let's face it happens all the time. It happens in every sport. In Europe, they use banners.
Yeah.
In England, they chant. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? They're fans. They pay for it. That's why they come there.
Yeah.
They put money in your pocket. So make them come, make them say what they want. As long as they don't say anything racist, go ahead and do it.
Finishing off before we get into my red card of the week, we'll talk about Milan Juventus. Guys, the first half that for me, I was pleasantly surprised to see what kind of attacking play. But when I saw Steve tweet out to say every time you miss these kind of chances against Juve, we'll see what happens. And
but it was a foregone conclusion what was gonna happen.
We all knew because that's soccer.
Nostra Polillo is my new name. I'm gonna change my own personal Twitter handle to Nostra Polillo. I knew that was gonna happen. I was sitting on my couch. I saw Poli go over the net. I saw Kaká.
He plays to
hit Bonucci. Let's say it was a great play. You shoot that ball another 10 times, it hits Bonucci's heel and it goes through his legs. It's 1-0 Milan. Not to say that they were going to win the game, because they just had a mental lapse at the end of the first half, which just infuriates me even more after having a great half. Because instead of having Juve go into the locker room saying, wow, these guys are really taking it to us, this shit team is really taking it to us, they go in and say, they're a little bit more relaxed because we're up 1-0. It changes all of Conte's. Conte was going to lose hair plugs basically at the 0-0 at halftime.
But it's we can all. Some people might say, yeah, it's great to see this kind of Milan play, even though we lost. But guys, I believe today, seeing Juventus side this way here, that even though they played far from their best game of the season, they still managed.
I'm going to go a step further than Juventus. I'm going to go a step, sorry to cut you off. Not only did they play their worst game, I think the Juve from last year is better than this Juve.
Really?
Yeah, talking with Francis Colagiacomo, he brought up a good point, that guy. He has a lot of hair and a big head, but he's pretty smart, Francis Colagiacomo. This is not the Juve of last year. And this is what's troubling. Because it's fine, again, 3 Scudettos, yay, we won 3 Scudettos, it's crazy, it's crazy. When the big money players come and buy your players, and you have no one to replace, and you're having a lower than the down season, you could just understand how the league is. The league is in trouble.
It is in trouble. But so coming back to the game, guys, I believe, I don't know, coming in, I like this whole basically it was a 4-2-1-2-1 with De Jong and Montolivo, Poli with the wingers, but in the end, when you play a team like Juventus and you miss all these chances, correct, and you can't finish, I'm gonna see if we can open up this conversation. If Balotelli was playing today and he would have been in the place of Pazzini. And Pazzini didn't have a bad game. You know, you could see that he was giving his all.
He didn't have a bad game. It's
changed.
just that Pazzini is the type of player that needs service.
Those free kicks that we had in those situations, right?
If Pazzini does not get service, Pazzini, you take away almost 80% of his game. He's not someone who could just put his head up and decide to have some individual brilliance and put the ball behind the net. He needs to have service.
Yeah.
Balotelli can do that. Would he have changed the scoreline? I personally don't think so, because usually in a type of game like this, when it's, you understand, it's not Pazzini's missing these chances, it's Poli missing these chances, it's Kaká missing these chances. If it would be Pazzini, you could do a fair 50-50 swap and comparison. Now you can't. So the result might have been the same. The subs, Poli coming out for injury, putting in Saponara, that's fine. That's okay, I like that move.
I would have liked to put Honda in there before Saponara because then
you like Honda. I'm going to tell you something about
Tell me something about Honda.
Something about Honda. Honda, again, I'm going to say it again this week, doesn't understand that he's not in Russia anymore.
Understood, but coming off at maybe the 60th minute, playing in that position, like more of a trequartista.
He was terrible. There was no, a 4-foot pass was challenging for him. You would get the ball, and he has to understand that in Italy, once you get the ball, you have 1 millisecond to make a decision. Yeah. You better know what you're doing with that ball before you get that ball, because the rest you're going to lose the ball. And he lost the ball way too many times. So now people that they're saying, if you haven't watched Honda on YouTube, you would know that he's out of gas. He's out of gas. He's out of gas. That's great. We pick up a player for free, because that's the type of pick up players, who's out of gas. So if he's out of gas, put some gas in his tank, or don't play him.
Can we agree on one thing? Seeing a Juventus play the way they played today against Milan, that is a lackluster Milan, we're on the same page on that one.
That's even being genuine.
How much does Vidal, how much is he a key of this formation, or how he dictates the play? Because I know it's only one game, but the games that he hasn't played, Steve,
he is very key. He does a lot for that. But he's interchangeable with Marquisio, you understand?
Yeah.
And they're pretty much the same type of player, because it's Marquisio who doesn't give up on that ball. And if you replace Marquisio with Vidal, Vidal doesn't give up on that ball. So they're two great players. That's the depth that they have at that position. But everywhere else is where they're missing the depth, and which they fail to understand that they're missing the depth. So that's why they keep on getting kicked out of Europe, because they can't change their formation.
Going into my red card of the week, guys, because he already opened up a can of worms there at the beginning. I'm going to give my 2 yellows, actually, one to Abate and one to Saponara. Abate on the goal by Loriente. I believe a defender needs to cover a man instead of like looking at the ball this way here and going, oh, look at that, Loriente scored. Yellow card to you, and to Saponara more, because a lot of us, well, maybe not me specifically, a lot of people out there believe that your next coming of Christ. On Vidal's goal, you kind of trotted towards him. Tevez's goal. You trotted towards him, you gave him all the space in the world. A kid like you that says that you want to prove yourself, I wanted to see you running your guts off on that specific play and not being like a veteran player that's just jogging. And Tevez, fantastic goal. But if you would have given pressure on this guy, maybe some things would have changed. Anyways, guys, we will thank you very much for watching. We'll always appreciate it. Say hello to all our followers, all our retweeters, especially Lenny. That I think it's going to become a new thing on Red Card Weekly. Who do we have to speak instead of Lenny, right? So we'll see. We'll be starting that new segment there. Guys, thank you very much, and we'll see you next week. Italy, Spain this week. Ciao.